Davante, what do you think about the depth you guys have at receiver this year?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that this year has been the most competitive that room has been in probably since I first got here. I felt like before it was kind of like everybody looked at it as Tays up there, and then we just kind of all fighting with each other, like whatever. But coming into it, it was real competitive. I feel like coaches made it pretty apparent that they were going to let guys just duke it out and see what happens based on how they performed, how they picked up the offense and all of that. So it's been good, man. It's been a lot of fun. It's been more fun for me just kind of seeing a little bit more competition in there. So been enjoying it. Looking forward to it.
This is probably the wrong time to ask the question because Marquez dropped one today, but he had been catching the ball so unbelievable.
Yeah.
In fact, the deep one he had today looked like, he had the hands out here. What have you seen in him that's just allowed him maybe to take that next step if he has?
Well, it actually is a perfect time, I think, to ask that question because I think he's in a good spot right now where, 2015, I obviously had struggles catching the ball in the games for whatever reason. And I think that the confidence issue made it tougher coming back to the next ball because of that. But I think where he is now and what he's done so far during camp, how he ended the season last year, has put him in a good spot to where now, like, if I go out there and drop a ball, I'm not going to catch every ball. So if I go out and drop a ball, it's like, damn, I just dropped that. It's more so internal. It's not about worrying about the other stuff because that's the stuff that starts to affect your confidence. And he knows he's proved it to himself. I mean, the way he's been practicing, the intensity, the consistency with the technique, working his releases and stuff like that. His mind is going to a different place this year, and I feel like it's going to help this team out a lot. So dropping the ball is going to happen playing wide out, especially you get a lot of targets, which he will get much more this year if he continues to show what he's been showing so far. So, going out there and putting the ball on the ground one time is not going to be too big of a deal for him or, anybody else.
Speaking. Go ahead, Scott.
What's it like having Randall back in the room, and is there a different, leadership dynamic now with both you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good, man. First and foremost, just having, one of my good friends there is just it's comforting for me. Makes my job a hell of a lot easier as far as leading in the room. I don't have to speak up on as much because a lot of things, the reason why I think about ball the way that I do and the way I'm so tough on myself and, just my whole mental process when I'm watching film and stuff like that is a lot because of what he and Jordy showed me when I first got here. So a lot of times I don't have to really say that much because, he's saying the same thing. Sometimes I'll look over to him and we'll be like, you want to say it or me? And then he'll jump in and give his 2 cents about, Amari's route or something that, Quez could have done better, Allen could have done better. And, not just the coaching part of it, but just having more veteran eyes out there. I think that it brings people's, makes them kind of rise to the occasion a little bit more because they know, if Tay got his back turned, I might be able to just squeeze by without finishing 20 yards down the field or getting to the end zone. But, if Tay's not looking, Cobb might be looking. So it'll, I've kind of seen it just kind of pick up the intensity a little bit in practice. And, it's another spot that makes those guys got to kind of go, oh, I got to get on top of it and make sure I'm doing what I got to do to make this football team too. So just having his presence there, we obviously know what he can do as a football player. So nothing but positive having him back.
Getting back to the drops, Davante. I know you've dropped a few this camp, but last year you dropped 1 in the regular season, which is like a preposterous number considering all the catches that you had. How do you work on your hands? Is there something more than just catching balls out of machines? Is there something else you can do to get to what you did last year?
I mean, it's just reps, really. It's just reps, different types of reps, working on catching the ball stationary, working on something tells me that was not on accident. I think that was intentional. Sorry if you ladies saw that. But what were we talking about? Oh, catching. No, I'm not as sorry for you. You've seen it in the locker room before. So, just catching the ball. Jerry Rice told me, I met him 2018, did a little panel together, and he told me the reason why he was able to catch the ball so well is not because he saw the ball, but because he's seen it before. So I kind of took that to heart, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. It's second nature at this point. I've seen that same ball a million times before, so it's easier to catch now. Having those reps and your brain isn't really thinking about, where do I put my hands, whatever. It's just kind of natural. Catching the ball, you run it to the right side. Do I flip my hands here? Do I catch it here? A lot of that plays into whether or not you catch the football or drop it, just based off how you position your hands. So the more opportunities you get at catching the ball when you're practicing doing it, it just becomes a lot more natural, I guess you could say.
Davante, during this run that you've been on, I mean, you kind of forget that you've had, I think, 3 or 4 different position coaches in a row there. I'm just curious what that sort of means to you now to have Jason back, Ruvell back, and what that sort of stability does for that room.
I mean, it does a lot, man. They got it's a great 1-2 punch. They kind of like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in there. I mean, Ruvell, he played, so obviously he has a lot of knowledge as far as the logistics and, you know, the ins and outs of wideout play. And then Vrabel, obviously he done a lot of studying and gotten a pretty good hold on, you know, being able to just go out there and coach up the same type of stuff. But his, you know, his expertise is, you know, kind of the X's and O's, and he knows football, you know, like the back of his hand. So them working together has gotten the young guys in a really good spot. I feel like they were a lot less stressed at this point in camp than what I've seen from young guys in the past. So great team between those two.
Davante, speaking of you know, second nature, in the third year in the offense, can you see the players, or just everybody sort of fitting into this offense now where, you know, you don't have to think as much about it? And do you see, you know, with the number 1 offense, many mental errors in camp?
I mean, I mean, that's what practice is for. So you still see the mental errors, but they definitely are a lot lower than what they have been in the past, and everybody starts to learn their role on the field. Everything becomes a little bit more simple. So I think that when you know, you start doing having a lot of concepts, and it's a pretty intricate offense, so it makes sense for guys to, you know, have a blown assignment every now and then. But it's something that we're trying to obviously work through. But you know, we got a lot of perfectionists in this offense, from running back room, tight end room, quarterbacks, obviously wideouts. So it's a work in progress, but I definitely like that everybody. I like the way Matt has kind of controlled the offense too, just kind of letting people know what they're expected to do in this offense. Whether it's the way that, you know, tight ends have to block, not expecting certain tight ends to go out and block, you know, an interior guy or you know. TJ Watt or some guy like that. That's what big dog is for, you know. So everybody kind of knows their role. Same thing, not to bring up him again, but he can go out there and still catch passes at a high level. But he's getting older, and he knows that. I think he made a comment to you guys about how I said he's in a different prime. So he's still playing out of this world right now. So having a guy like that in that room, and then having a guy like Bobby, who is obviously his confidence is at an all-time high, which it should be based off the way he's playing. People just kind of know their role and complement each other within each room, and it just kind of makes the thing, I guess, go.
Davante, with veterans not likely to see a whole lot of snaps over the next couple of Saturdays, is this kind of your preseason these 2 days? What'd you get out of it? That sort of thing.
It's good to see some new faces. I feel like it kind of gets not in the way of putting anybody down, but it gets easier when you get another team because you play against the same guys. They start picking up on little different nuances of the offense and the way you play, so you got to start to create more. I find that once I, you know, try to expand my release package and, you know, the routes, top of routes and stuff like that, playing against guys like Kev King and Jair, when I go against guys that aren't as familiar with going against me, I just keep it a lot more simple and efficient, and I'm able to get the job done the same way, if not, you know, having more separation. So. It's been good. Obviously, I don't plan on really getting out there on the grass before we get the live action. So, getting another team in here has been cool. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it doesn't bother me too much.
What did you see on the skirmish with Cobb? You were the first one on the scene.
Say that again.
What did you see on that skirmish with Randall? You were the first guy there to try to break it up.
I'm off in there pretty quick when stuff happens to my teammates, whether or not it's warranted. I saw something going on and just wanted to diffuse it. I feel like I was able to successfully do that, at least for the first part of that skirmish, I believe you called it. But yeah, I mean, it's just about having your brother's back. No punches were thrown. It's nothing to, you know, I didn't start anything, so it wasn't about me trying to get out any anger or anything. I'm just trying to get a guy off my guy and keep practicing.
You told us that story about burning Jair, I think, in his first practice back in 2018. You and Aaron were going after Stokes pretty hard. Is he starting to get the hang of it, and is he kind of learning the same way that Jair did? As
for sure. He's the closest thing to Jair as far as mentality and ability from what I've seen so far. I mean, kid is fast as hell. He can get beat and recover, kind of like how Sam Shields would do. My rookie year, I got Sam on another play stood out to me. I got Sam on like a inside release or a faked inside, and he went in, baseball turned and spun around, and I actually took off way too wide, but I'm thinking I'm wide open. I'm like, this ball is on the way. I turn back and Sam is on my hip right there, like, where the hell are you going? I'm right here. So I'll see the same thing from him. He actually made a really good play on me. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. I had a kind of like a comeback route on the left sideline, and he made a really good play. He was real patient at the top. So I like what I see from him. A lot of the same of what, like I said, mentality of Jair. Came to me after one of the practices and was like, keep getting me better, bro. Like, I appreciate this. I know you're getting after me, but it almost gave me the vibe of, like, he was saying, like, I can play now. Like, I know I just haven't really played with you guys like that yet, and y'all are two of the best in the business, and Matt reminds him of that, too, to keep his confidence high, but he can really go. So I'm excited to see how it looks when we really open this thing up.
Mentality, is that something that he's developed over time in camp, or did you sense that right from the start?
Well, I sensed it right from the start, but to be able to label it as such, I feel like I have to see it pretty consistently, and I've seen that throughout from the beginning to where we are right now.
Hey, Davante, I asked Aaron this yesterday. You were obviously productive with Brett Hundley a couple of years ago when Rodgers broke his collarbone, but is there a difference? You know, I'm thinking about Cobb, or if they'd brought Jordy back for another year. Is there a difference between being open for a regular quarterback and being open for Aaron because of the windows he can put it in and because of the wavelength guys are on with him? Is there a difference there?
Yes and no. It's tough because, I mean, quarterbacks in the NFL typically can hit an open guy. So an open guy is, I mean, a decent amount of separation. If there's a throwing lane, I mean, that's open basically. So obviously 12 has the crazy ability to just find a crease where even if you're not open, be able to get it on you. But you can't really get mad at a guy for only getting a yard of separation versus 3. I like to get as much as possible to make it easy and thinking about the next phase of catching it and being able to get upfield and getting some yak. So I think it's more beneficial to yourself to be wide open just as far as being able to create more after the catch. But I like to say all of our guys can put the ball on anybody with a yard or a yard and a half of separation.
We're going to switch to Zoom. Sarah, go ahead.
Sure. Hey, Davante, kind of following up on an earlier question. Aaron yesterday said that, for him, the preseason was really all about the practices a couple of years ago, and it's just kind of always been that. So for you, what are those signs as you go through these preseason practices to know you're on the right track and ready for live action when it comes?
Well, I'd like to think that I attack every practice the same way. I try to be as intentional as possible. I don't really like going through the motions, so every time I get out there, whether it's a jog-through day or full speed, I'm going to be giving it, all I got and trying to, maximize it. Maybe it's not a full speed day as far as, the true literal speed of how we're running on the field, but, at least mentally I'm going to be tapped in a way that I can make sure I'm getting something out of it. I don't like to just go out there and just, have walk through tempo. Like, those are cool to kind of, let the guys rest and whatnot, but just to be tapped in at all times, every route that I have, I'm going to try to go out there and win as if it was a game. That allows me to play fast, and that's why I have the confidence that I do when I get out there, is because, like I told you about the Jerry Rice thing, it's kind of like second nature at that point. Catch the ball, and if you just catch the ball, you just go out there, run a slant, you catch it, and you just kind of like throttle down and you don't finish. I feel like it becomes a little bit of a shock in the game when you catch it and now you got to go make a move, but you haven't really done it like that. So then it's not going to be second nature. It won't be as smooth for you. So I like to have it be as seamless as possible. So every rep I get, I'm going to take full advantage of.